Hello, everyone, and welcome to On Purpose Astrology, the first video of 2026. There's going to be more videos this year than there was in the second half of last year. All sorts of things happening in my professional and private life that meant I didn't have as much time. I'm going to make up for it this year, I promise. So the first is the Astro-Energy is up to the 14th of January. The first couple of weeks, we're already nearly a week in, but the first couple of weeks of 2026, and I'm calling it's a Capricorn pilot because quite a few planets. We've got Mercury, we've got Venus, we've got Mars, and of course the Sun's still in Capricorn at the moment. Before I start to talk about that and show you the chart, as I'm sure you all know, astrologically and probably in the world, well, likely in the world, and probably in our personal lives, the energy is going to be really fast moving this year. There's going to be change, there's going to be endings, there's going to be new beginnings, there's going to be more enthusiasm, more ideas. Things might feel a bit discombobulated as things change very quickly and then change again very quickly and then again very quickly. There's plenty of energy there, there's plenty of opportunity there. And in future videos, I'll be talking more and more on that topic. But just to introduce it here, what I'm talking about, of course, is we've got Saturn and Neptune. They are going to be going into Aries to stay in Aries in February. So next month, very, very, very soon, they're going to be in conjunction at the very first degree of the zodiac, which is Aries. It's that birth, it's that newness, it's the creation degree, it's the world axis, they call it. So look out for things happening, looking out for things happening in the world, something new information is coming in. In April, we have Uranus going into Gemini. So there's going to be lots of new ideas. Things are going to be shocking and surprising. Things are going to change and they're going to change again. And then we have Pluto as well in the air sign of Aquarius, already established in Aquarius, of course, which is going to be about transformation, of course, always. It's also going to be about getting really deep into things. We're going to have all sorts of stuff coming up that we might not like the look of it in the world, but also in our personal lives, perhaps as well. But we have to remember with Pluto, Pluto's journey is a healing journey. We normally talk about Chiron as being a healing journey, but Pluto is also a healing journey as well. It shows us collectively, but also personally as well, what we need to clean up in our world, in our lives. Not easy. But with that trine to Uranus, it's going to feel like we're going to have more flow. And we're also going to have that Aries energy coming in. Saturn and Neptune is an interesting combination. They almost feel like opposites, whereas Neptune has no boundaries. Neptune is boundaryless. It's the dream world. It's the unconscious. It's the ephemeral things, it's creativity, it's imagination. And then it meets the real world energy of Saturn, which is about the material world. It's about how we operate in this material world. We're in a body, and as being in a body, it's our vehicle, but it also restricts us, of course. In the etheric world of Neptune, you can go anywhere, be anything, see everything. It's visionary. But Saturn reminds us that we live in this real world as well. It brings us smack down to earth. So we have those contrasting energies coming in as well, which they might seem difficult to negotiate, but once we get the hang of negotiating those energies, once we perhaps realize that it's the imagination, the ideas and the imagination and the things that we dream up in our dreamland when we're sleeping, but the things we dream up in our real world, that creative imagination and the things that we can create tangible, positive change in the world if we can use those energies in that way. Remember that when we have a vision, of something amazing we want to create in our lives, or whether it's a piece of artwork, whether it's photography, whether it's, the artistic things that Neptune is associated with, or whether it's just the dream we have for our life and for our world, we can dream those into being, into the material world of Saturn, when we understand where those boundaries lie, where those restrictions lie, where to stop. So it's going to be quite interesting. We could probably, any astrologer could probably talk for weeks on end, could do week-long workshops on Saturn and Neptune. But certainly it's that dissolving energy, dissolving of structures when Neptune works on Saturn. But it's also forming new structures from ideas and from an imagination as well. Innovative ideas, maybe unconventional ideas. Don't forget we've got Uranus going into Gemini here soon enough, and that's already really sextiling Saturn and Neptune already. So that means there's innovation, there's something unique, something original to vision up, to create, to work with some idea. And because of this fast moving fire air energy that's coming in, we will be able to manifest, to create or co-create, not just in our personal lives, but collectively a better world for everyone, a more compassionate world, structures of responsibility, structures of authority that actually work for everyone, not just for the privileged few. And this is one of Pluto's messages in Aquarius as well. Aquarius is about the common people. So we're seeing these issues come up with the common people, how they feel like they're being left behind, how we feel like we're being left behind. I put myself in these categories. So we have a real opportunity here. Much more on that, probably touch on it in every video a little bit more information. But I want to talk now really about this next week or two. So here's the chart. You can see here at the top of the chart, right at the very top of the chart here, we've got Mars. I'll go from left to right. Mars, Sun, Venus in a tight conjunction at 16 degrees of Capricorn. And coming up on the rear, we have Neptune at 7 degrees of Capricorn. If you look to the bottom of the chart here, that is in a opposition to Jupiter in Cancer, which is going retrograde. So that conjunction is going to get tighter. It's 20 degrees now, and it's going to get tighter because Jupiter is going backwards in Cancer. So what can we make of this? Well, first of all, perhaps we might look at the opposition, the general opposition between Cancer and Capricorn, what they have in common and what they don't have in common as a starting point. What they do have in common is they're about responsibilities and discipline. Cancer is associated with home and family and protection. Capricorn is more about the outer world, ambition, authority figures, responsibilities, and discipline. But there's also something about responsibility and discipline with Cancer as well. Both of them are protective energies as well. We all know about the Cancerian shell. Cancerian, when it's feeling sensitive, when it's feeling hurt, it's a water sign. It's an emotional water sign. When you think it goes into its shell, protects itself, and it can become moody and crabby. And interestingly, when Capricorn's stressed, it can also become moody and crabby. So look out for that kind of protective energy. And when you start to feel a bit moody or crabby, and I'm a Capricorn and I can vouch for that. I think particularly when I was a lot younger, I used to be very moody. But it's nurturing and caring, of course, Cancer. And there's something about the feel of the parental with both Cancer and Capricorn. Traditionally, Cancer is the mother energy, the nurturing energy, and traditionally the Capricorn is the paternal, the father energy. And of course, we know in this modern age that these things are intertwinable and they shift from one to the other. The nurturing energy doesn't necessarily have to be biological female energy and vice versa, of course. But as I said, while Cancer is about self-protection often because there's those emotions that it needs to protect, Capricorn protects through adherence to boundaries, to regulations, to rules. So we've got all of these energies coming in. Both of them have something to do with about feeling safe in the world and operating in the world. There's something about the inner world. We talked about the Cancer energy, which is the lunar energy, because it's ruled by the moon, which is that inner world of our emotions, our feelings that we might want to hide from, the outer world, which is more about what Capricorn is all about. Capricorn is how we work within the world. So we're going into the 6th of January. I'm doing this on the 6th of January. And of course, it's a time after the holidays. People are back into work, they're back into school, they're back into education, they're back into the responsibilities after the break for the holiday season. For those of you that celebrate a holiday season at the end of December, whether it's the solstice, whether it's the Christian festival of Christmas, or whether it's just the festivity of Christmas or any other celebration that you might observe during this time. And so it's kind of going back to work and those responsibilities. And we've got that Mars in Capricorn here. Mars is a strong sign. Capricorn is a strong sign for Capricorn. It loves Capricorn. Mars loves being in Capricorn because it's structured, it's hard working, it's disciplined. So you may feel at this time, and I'm feeling it myself actually, ready to get back into work after a break. I mean, some of you, of course, because of your jobs, because of your responsibilities, you might not have had a break. You might have had 1 day or 2 days. I've been fortunate enough to have a couple of weeks of lovely rest and festivities and family time. And now I'm really reaching to get back into work, to get back to creating and to doing my astrology and all that kind of thing. And so Mars in Capricorn energy is great for that, of course. And you've got the sun there. The sun gives the purpose, is purposeful. Venus is the nice energy, isn't it? Venus is the willingness and the openness to share. So what else might we say about this Capricorn stellium here? It's at the top of the chart. In the chart I'm showing you, I cast it for just before I went online here to record this, and it's set for London. So you can pretty much almost ignore the houses, the segments, because in your own birth chart or any other chart you're looking at for someone else, it's most likely to fall in different houses. The houses, as we know, are um, areas of life, sort of home and relationships and career vocation, etc., etc., etc. We can ignore those for this because it will probably be different in your birth chart. But it's a cautious sign. Capricorn is a cautious sign. So maybe there's a little bit of caution going on, but it's also worldly. It's an earth sign. Remember, I said Cancer, of course, is a water sign. It's emotional, it's sensitive. Of course, everyone has their own sensitivities, but Capricorn is a bit more worldly. It's about efficiency. Capricorn tends to value tradition, likes to do things in the traditional way, whether it's the tradition of their culture or whether it's the tradition of the family or the traditions that they've created for themselves. Also values dignity and poise, going out into the world in a reserved way, but in a way that is that calm, collected confidence of Capricorn and that sense of ambition. It's mature. It's a sign of maturity. It's ruled by Saturn. Saturn, the planet of aging. They say that Capricorns actually mature backwards. They age backwards because a little child who's a Capricorn tends to be a little bit grown up, and often a Capricorn child will, because of circumstances or maybe just because of character or a little bit of both, be taking on a lot of responsibilities in early age. And as a Capricorn gets older, when they become freer, when they've reached the top of the mountain where they need to go, where they want to go, where their ambitions lie, then they can kind of relax a bit and enjoy life a little bit and let go a bit. And Capricorns can actually be incredibly eccentric if they let themselves go. But they take relationships seriously and they take work and the professional life seriously as well. So these are things about generally Capricorn, but these energies are in the air at the moment that you might be able to relate to how you're feeling as well. Control and self-control, hard work, responsibility, stamina. These are all other qualities of that, particularly that Mars in Capricorn, but all the other planets as well. So there is a defensiveness here, really, I think, potentially, because when you're feeling sensitive, when you're feeling cautious, when you're feeling like you've got a lot of responsibility, there's a sense of needing to look after yourself and to protect yourself with this energy. Because remember, we've got this Cancer energy, but it's Jupiter in Cancer. And Jupiter emphasizes and it emphasizes, but I've just been distracted here because my little kitten, my new little kitten, has just jumped on the table. So everything he's kind of new to him at the moment, and he's crawling around the back of the computer. I'm sure he'll put his head in front of the camera at some point. But everything becomes bigger, is illuminated, grows, feels bigger. There's an opportunity with Jupiter. Jupiter tends to be benign energies as well. So it gives a little bit of energy of bit of idea of like comfort, really, of helping us to feel safe. So if we feel a little bit scared at the moment, because there's a lot of things going on in the world. When we look at what's happening in the world, there's a lot of things going on in the world at the moment that we might feel little bit scary about. Jupiter in Cancer can help us feel a little bit more safe, can help us feel a little bit more optimistic. It's a key word for Saturn, optimism. When you put that with the Capricorn energy, of course, it's reasoned and measured optimism. Jupiter can go a little bit overboard and go, yeah, everything's okay. We don't need to do anything. We can throw caution to the wind, take a risk. Whereas that Capricorn energy here is very much going to keep things in check a little bit. So you can find a nice balance here between going back out into the world or going back into the world and doing what you need to do and facing your responsibilities, facing your fears even with Capricorn. Remember, it is ruled by Saturn. And Saturn at the moment, as I've already said, he's conjunct Neptune. You can see that to the left hand of the chart here, the Saturn and Neptune conjunction is still in Pisces. Of course, that's very sensitive water sign of Pisces. You can see where we are at. Now the cat is trying to jump onto all the shelves. Bless him. Everything is new to him because he's a new boy. He's a new little boy. Anyway, I'll have to show him, I'll have to put him in front of the camera in a minute, won't I? But we can find that measured optimism. We can find a way through. Oh, there's a tail. There we go. There we go. Personal growth, really, again, which is another theme for Jupiter. Personal growth through finding balance, finding a new balance if we need to between perhaps our home and family responsibilities and our work life and career responsibilities. I mentioned Saturn as well, but you'll see that Saturn is there at the end, very, very end of almost at the very, very end of Pisces there, conjunct Neptune. So there's that creativity there as well. There's that idea of creativity, of being able to create something new, to be able to think something through, because of course Mercury is there in Capricorn as well. And by around the 14th of January, Mercury will be opposing that Jupiter in Cancer there. So that's the idea really of using that energy, using the Cancer Capricorn energy to clear the mind, to be efficient in the way that you think and the way you organize yourself. Capricorn is very good for organization. Great time of year actually for organizing things. I've started a new list, a new to-do list. I have a new to-do list book that was given to me as a gift, which is a perfect present for a Capricorn, of course, something to help me organize things. There's a spiritual energy to all of this as well, which is what I was just getting at before. But I've been distracted by this little one. Here he is. Look, here he is. I want you to see him because he's a very beautiful presence. He's a beautiful black boy. Here we go. Off you go. His name's Teddy. Off he goes. That's it. He's had enough now. But there's spiritual energy there as well. As I said, that Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which is conjunct Neptune in Pisces. So there's a spiritual energy there that you can connect to. And also Jupiter has something to do with spirituality and religion as well. So with this Saturn in Pisces, with the Neptune as well, it's about spiritual discipline as well. So maintaining spiritual discipline, maintaining maybe that extends into wellness discipline. It's a time of year when many of us think about wellness, where we think we might have overindulged or dropped into some bad habits. Again, the discipline of Capricorn is good here. Also, when, as I said, around about the 14th, the exact conjunction, the exact opposition of Mercury to Jupiter there. It's good for getting admin done out of the way. Remember, that will start to come in a couple of days before. So we're really talking from about the 11th or the 12th, that energy will start to come in. Obviously, Venus and the Sun and Mars will be moving on. So it's communication, but it's serious communication. It's a serious idea. It's a very serious energy, isn't it, Capricorn? Taking things seriously, making sure not to take things too seriously, though, as well. I think with the combination here with Jupiter, Jupiter is jovial. So there's a humor to be found as well. And I think with the Jupiter in Cancer, with this Capricorn energy opposing it, there's a dry sense of humor. There's the opportunity for a dry, wry sense of humor. You know, the idea that, okay, we might feeling a little bit stressed, or we might feel like we're taking things seriously, but there's some humor to be found in it. Even if it's like, oh, these things are happening out in the world, we don't like them. Oh, what's the cosmic joke got for us next? So finally, what I did, well, before that, I was going to just look at where this Capricorn conjunction falls in some key charts. But before that, just want to mention that my diary is open for consultations. If you go on my website, onpurposeastrology.com, I'll put the link downstairs in the description when I post this video. You'll see on my website the year ahead consultations. I've already marked them as £20 off. If you book through my website, so just you can send a message through my website. There's a box there, and you can just send me a message. If you mention YouTube video that you've watched this YouTube video, you'll get a further £20 off your consultation if you're interested. Finally, as I said, I was just going to mention that I put this chart. I haven't got the charts to show you, so I'm just going to go to this one here because I'm nearly at the end. There's my website there on purposeastrology.com. That Capricorn stellium, I put it in the houses of the US chart, which is the Sag Rising chart, and also in the UK chart, which is the UK Active Union chart, and also in the chart for the EU. And it's interesting just to do this, just to see on a very basic level, just to see what house these transits fall into, which can give you a clue into some of the things that are going to be top of mind, top of the political agenda. So for the US, let's go back to this actually, so you can see the Capricorn stellium here. If I put that onto the US chart, on the outside of the US chart, it falls into these Capricorn planets, fall into the second house. What's the second house in mundane astrology? Mundane astrology is, of course, the astrology of world events and politics and countries, etc., and leaders. Well, the second house is about assets, income, and finance. So that's really interesting to think about, isn't it? It's movable finance and assets. When we think about what's happening in the US at the moment, what's happened in Venezuela, the US have taken the president and his wife, the sitting president and his wife, out of office, and him and his wife are now in New York facing trial for to be indicted for drug trafficking, etc., allegedly. So that's really interesting. And there's a lot of talk about what is in it for America, what is in it for the president of America. Well, movable assets, movable finance, money, the idea of that the US wants to take back control of the not only sort of to stop drug trafficking into the US, but also to take control of oil. So those movable assets, those financial movable assets. So that's really interesting. And then, of course, we have the Jupiter will be in the opposite side, the opposite house, which is the eighth house, the opposite to the 12th, which is all about that Jupiter sits in the house, the mundane astrology house of um, investments, other people's money and assets, and taxes as well. So that's interesting. Put it into the UK chart, it falls in the fourth house, which is interesting. It's domestic issues, it's the mood of the people. It's traditionally it's in the natural chart. It's ruled, the fourth house is ruled by the moon, so there's that lunar theme there, which the moon in mundane astrology is about the people and the mood of the people. The idea of really how the people are feeling at the moment, right? And then the 10th house, we've got if that's in the fourth, the Capricorn stuff, then in the 10th house, you will have the Jupiter in Cancer. It's very much about the mood of the people. People are feeling restricted. People in the UK, I feel, are worrying still about the cost of living, about inflation. Jupiter is about inflation, of course, monetary inflation, but generally about inflation. So domestic issues and the land of the UK and its traditions. It's also associated with patriotism as well. Cost of living crisis as well. People feel like there's a lack of money, perhaps. Capricorn can make us feel like we need to have something in reserve. And if we don't have that, then we don't feel so secure. So that's interesting. These are just themes to think about when you think about the UK at the moment. Is very much when you switch on the news, there's a lot of focus on foreign affairs, because obviously the UK's part, and I live and I'm recording from the UK, what's our part in international affairs and international relationships, but very much the mood of the people. Okay, well, let's sort things out at home. That seems to be the mood. Fourth house. For the EU chart, the European Union chart, it falls into the fifth house. Now, the fifth house in mundane astrology, it's interesting. It's to do with sport. It's about creativity. It's about birth rates, etc. But it's also about ambassadors and diplomats and intermediaries as well. So that's another theme to start thinking about over the next week or two. Already, European leaders are thinking about what is going to happen in Greenland, which is part of Denmark, the European country of Denmark, and the US and Trump has made some comments that he would like to take Denmark into the US as part of the USA. So again, that brings in the idea of ambassadors and diplomats and intermediaries. So just thought I would share that, because for those of you that are interested in the world events, just some themes to think of, just simply by seeing what house on these world charts this stellium falls into. Of course, it's a moving stellium here today, gone by the end of the month, but it's interesting to look as we follow the news, see if we can see those themes popping up. So thank you so much for watching. I'll put some information below. The other thing I wanted to quickly mention is my book, The On Purpose Life. It's not an astrology book. It's for anyone who's interested in living a more positively purposeful life. It's a textbook. It's a self-help book. It's sort of bit psychology, bit of spirituality, and it's chock full of exercises. It's available on Amazon. And again, I'll put the link to that in case you want to have a look at that book on Kindle or in a paperback form if you like paperbacks rather than if you like a physical object. So I'm going to stop sharing now, and I thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching this. Again, I'm planning to really post more videos, and hope this has been helpful and inspiring and useful and informative. And Happy New Year to all you. Lots and lots of love, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.